5, Little Mount in 32 minutes. We also have another severe thunderstorm warning farther out to the west. We've got to watch all of these individual thunderstorms that are firing up at this time just south of this front. Notice some of these have little notches. We've got to watch every single one of those. Could be quick little spin-ups. This is a severe thunderstorm warning here for Hardinsburg. Again, the issue with that is going to be some hail and possibly some damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Let's go back to where we have that tornado warning. That is in Washington County, Kentucky. That is just to the northwest of Springfield. And there you can see that this is Bardstown. So this is just to the east of Bardstown. Bardstown Road right there, Highway 150. This is heading towards Highway 555 right there between Willisburg and Springfield, 555, and right there at 55. So there is that a little bit of a notch. That's what we're watching very closely. And that's just a few miles north of downtown Springfield where we have that rotation right there. And that is tracking almost due east, a little bit to the northeast. So if you're in the Litzy area, Valley Hill, please be still in your place of shelter. Valley Hill, that threat will be over here within the next few minutes as that rotation is tracking to the east of your area. But you can still see we have some consistency, little rotation. Jared, doesn't look maybe quite as impressive as it was, but there's the storm relative velocity and still have some of that rotation.
Yeah, the rotation is fairly broad at this time, but one of the problems with this thunderstorm that we've been tracking that could perhaps cause a tornado is the fact that we have multiple fronts in the area. One of them right in here, you can see it. It goes right up into this thunderstorm. That's the stationary front that's sitting across Kentucky that's dividing the cooler from the warmer air. And when these storms sometimes interact with these frontal boundaries, they can produce weak tornadoes in a very little moment's notice. So this is something we're going to have to really watch over the next several minutes. And we're obviously going to stay with you with this tornado warning as long as it is in effect, because we have danger to life and property across parts of Kentuckiana. Again, in the metro right now, we do not have a tornado warning. We don't have a severe thunderstorm warning or watch. All of these storms are passing off to the south at this time as they're moving in our direction from the west and southwest. And as you can see, Ben, additional thunderstorms are lining up farther off toward the west. This thunderstorm south and southeast of Evansville, Indiana, has produced tornado or strong wind damage. We're getting confirmation on that to a mobile home park in western Kentucky.
That's been a long track supercell. It started off in central Illinois. We've got to really watch all these storms pulsing and firing up, because that one storm there in Springfield really wasn't impressive just about a half hour ago. So they're getting stronger rapidly, and it's happening here during the heat of the day. We're now at 6:55 p.m. so we're still pretty warm out there. I say warm, yeah, you think I'm joking in Louisville because it's in the 50s, but it's still in the 70s down here. So it's all getting fed. Look at that, 80 degrees in Munfordville. So you can see where the warm front is. We're down to 55 in Fort Knox, 59 in Bardstown. So easy to see where that warm front is. And guess what? Right on that warm front is where we have that possible tornado. Right now, that's radar indicated. We do not have any confirmation that there is a tornado on the ground. We'll stick with you here in Washington County where we have that rotation until that threat is over, and then we'll send you back to programming. We do have several severe thunderstorm warnings right now. There's a severe thunderstorm watch for all areas basically south of Louisville at this time. And there you can see this one with a hail core that is enormous right over Shepherdsville and I-65. You've got some time to get your car in the garage and get yourself inside too for these areas between Taylorsville and Bardstown, the Bloomfield area. Let's go back to this tornado warned storm there north of Springfield, and this is the one that still has some rotation. This is the hail core in that storm. This is southwest of Willisburg and then north of Springfield. This is heading to the east at around 20 to 30 miles per hour, tracking east-northeast. And Jared, let's go in tight once again, and we'll do a track first. There you can see heading towards the Litzy area in 6 minutes, Battle in 21 minutes, in the Cornishville in about 25. Let's go street level right ahead of where that rotation is. That way we can give those viewers an indication of where that's heading, right over the Valley Hill area. We've got Stormchase 11 as well. Meteorologist Reed Yadon now chasing these storms too. and we are seeing that storm straight ahead where Reed is, seeing some of that storm formation. Notice there's blue sky around these storms, so they're getting fed that warm and unstable air. So there you can see where we have that rotation. This is the notch that we're talking about. Here's Highway 55, and so that's going to be tracking right over Highway 55. Now, we don't have a report of a tornado on the ground. This is all radar indicated. This is the Kelly Brothers Lane right there. All these areas, neighborhoods around Highway 55, be in your place of shelter. And this is tracking to the east of Valley Hill, again towards the Litzy area, basically central Washington County. This is probably some good hail that you're getting here around Litzy and Hardisty. And Bryan, you got some information here?
If you want to pull up Max 1, we got some hail photos out of Meade County, and then that's the storm that's just south of the metro area. So check this out. This comes from Wendy Martin. Look at how much hail has fallen in that area. That almost looks like it is snow in that spot. And here's another one from her. She could stick her hand in and it just looks like a couple of inches of hail. So that is the storm that is making its way through just south of the metro area through Bullitt County now. So a severe thunderstorm warned storm, and that was the one that made its way through Meade County shortly before, now heading towards Taylorsville, just north of Bardstown. So still a very strong storm as it is making its way to the east. And we continue to track more severe thunderstorms and the tornado warned storm that is in Washington County there, Ben.
And that tornado warning continues until 7:15 Eastern time. So that's still another 10 to 15 minutes with that warning. We got ping pong ball size hail with this storm here north of Springfield, and to the south of Willisburg is where that threat continues here. This is an update to that tornado warning. There's a warning within a warning, and there's some of that hail. There's that hail core, and you see that live update with Max HD radar. If we go a little bit tighter here, there's a 555 between Willisburg and Springfield, heading towards the Pleasant Grove here. Get your car inside. Actually, we just want you to be seeking shelter. That's the immediate threat here with the potential of some tornado. I want to see the velocity. This is where we look for the rotation. We look for the green and the red right next to each other, and we've got some bright spots there as well. And that's what we call a couplet. Is where we see the green and the red right next to each other, and the potential for that rotation is right there where we see those bright colors and those colors right next to each other. So that is right near the Pleasant Grove area. And this is tracking to the east, northeast towards Mackville, being your place of shelter. It looks like 433 right there. And this is going to be heading towards the Battle area, possibly in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So there you can see some of that rotation that Jared is highlighting right there. The potential of some danger right there, and some, if not a tornado, some damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. And to the northeast of that rotation is where we have that hail core as well, just to the north of that rotation, just southwest of Willisburg, where we've got reports of ping pong ball size hail. Let's do a track on that, starting off from where that rotation is, Jared, and we'll take that off to the east. This will be out of Washington County within the next half hour. Again, that tornado warning continues until 7:15, and this is heading towards the battle area, as I mentioned, about 15 minutes. Cornishville at 18, Duncan at 21, and the Bohan area in 25 minutes. And then we also, yeah, Jared.
Yeah, I just wanted to run through, not to interrupt you, but we're getting additional new warnings issued, some of those closer to the metro. So let's go ahead and pull out and kind of reset here, because we actually have a warning that's north of the watch box across parts of Indiana. We'll turn off the radar really quick, show you the warnings we have. Of course, first, and what Ben's been talking about, that tornado warning for parts of Washington County, Kentucky. But we also have severe thunderstorm warnings that include some of the following counties here: Breckenridge, Bullitt, Spencer, Nelson, Washington in Kentucky, and also we have parts of Harrison and Floyd counties of Indiana. The majority of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in place are hail-producing thunderstorms at this time, not tornado producers. We have some gusty winds, but the main concern is hail, and the hail could be actually as large as golf balls in some locations in some of these stronger thunderstorms. I want to zoom into the metro and show you what's going on here across Jefferson County. You can see, Ben, we have thunderstorms that are lined up really in a circular fashion all around the metro.
Surrounded, yeah.
Yes, Shepherdsville, up toward the north and east, close to Pee Wee Valley, Sellersburg, and then we have this storm that's over parts of Harrison County County that is actually being warned for hail at this time that could be, again, as large as $half as it moves off toward the east. So no doubt, over the next several minutes, strong thunderstorms across parts of Kentuckiana. This is the storm we're talking about that's closest to the metro and just toward the west that has some hail with it. And if we loop that, then can we see exactly where that thing's going to go over the next few minutes and try to figure out if it's going to miss downtown Louisville or be just toward the north? It does appear that it's moving right parallel to I-64. So if you're in much of Floyd County, close to Georgetown, and also farther east into New Albany, and even farther down the road into parts of Portland and West Louisville, even Clarksville and Jeff, over the next 30 minutes, some hail could be heading in your direction. And we're going to track that storm for you off toward the east at around 30 to 40 miles an hour. Georgetown, it's on top of you. Get that car in the garage right now if you can, because the hail is heading your way and it could be quite large. Floyd's Knobs, 14 minutes, 20 minutes to New Albany, downtown Louisville about a half an hour away, and Sellersburg just after that. So anywhere from Sellersburg south toward Louisville, you're in that threat along I-65 for some hail over the next half hour or so. That's the newest warning we have. Farther south, we have this severe thunderstorm across parts of Bullitt County that has produced hail that's covering the ground like snow off toward the west, where it passed through, let's say, Fort Knox and just toward the south of Brandenburg in the last hour. This hail core showing up on Max HG radar pretty close to Bardstown Junction and right down 65 as you're passing south of Shepherdsville. That hail could still be as large as quarters or $half as it moves off to the east at around 40 miles an hour. So if you're in these areas, keep in mind you also have the threat of some fairly large hail that could produce some damage. We're talking about severe hail being larger than the size of quarters, and we warn for that size of hail 1 inch in diameter because it's at that point or larger when you start to see damage to cars and roofs, things of that nature. So let's track that thunderstorm off toward the east. Mainly going to stay along and north of Bardstown, along US 150. It's moving right along there. The radar just updated. But if you're in Hobbs, Cox's Creek, or Fairfield, I should say, over the next 25 to 35 minutes, that thunderstorm heading in your direction. But concern number one, of course, is the tornado warning that we have off toward the east, and that's for parts of Washington County, Kentucky. If you're in Springfield, of course, that's the county seat. You're wondering, Washington County, does that include me? The threat of severe weather is just off toward the northeast of you in Springfield, but rural sections of northeastern Washington County, Kentucky, have that threat of a tornado spin up. And you can see right here, we have this shade of green on the velocity. This is the wind pattern blowing back toward the left-hand side of your screen, back toward the west, right next to that shade of red, moving away from the radar side at Fort Knox and toward the right side of your TV set. That's where you have that potential for a tornado to develop. The good thing about this thunderstorm, for one thing, we've not had a report of a tornado touching down. And for another thing, the winds have been pretty weak. But the reason the warning has been issued is because the storm actually crossed over a warm front. And sometimes as that occurs, that can create a stronger wind shear in that thunderstorm and allow a brief tornado to touch down toward the ground. One of the concerns we've had all day long with these thunder showers and that strong, sharp warm front bisecting Kentuckiana. Here's the track for you on that thunderstorm. Passing off toward the east, Mackville 8 minutes, Cornishville 21 minutes, passing out of the viewing area, and I think that's toward Harrodsburg over the next half hour. If you've got some family in Harrodsburg, that's the Lexington TV market, just give them a call, let them know that a strong thunderstorm is heading in their direction. The larger view over the last hour, again, you can see multiple thunderstorms developing in the heat of the day. Some of these thunderstorms developing on the north side of the warm front where it's not all that warm at all, but just above the ground, the air is very unstable, and that's where we have
pretty closely here. It looks like Jared, sorry to interrupt, just west of E-Town, got a pretty good notch there.
Yeah, definitely.
No warning on that, but we want to give you a heads up before warning's issued.
Right, and this is a situation where there could also be a hail core developing with this thunder shower as it moves toward E-Town over the next few minutes. If we pull out a little bit, is that south? It's just north of the warm front, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much right along that. Just
so along and just north of the warm front. The majority of the thunderstorms have been north of the warm front, which creates a better environment for hail than tornadoes, which is some great news. And if you're wondering, where is this warm front and how do we know where it's at? Let's pull out a little bit. You can actually see that green line right there pushing from north to south. That is the actual wind shift where you go from upper 70s and lower 80s into the 60s, eventually the 50s, even 40s. for actual temperatures across our northeastern counties at this time. So multiple thunderstorms that we're tracking at this point. We also have this strong thunderstorm that is warned for hail at this time to the size of quarters just toward the north and west of Hardinsburg and parts there of Breckinridge County. If you are in Irvington and points toward the east, that thunderstorm heading in your direction over the next half hour or so. And then finally, what started it all across parts of Illinois earlier, this very strong to severe storm that's passing out of Henderson, Kentucky, produced some very strong damage across parts of the Henderson area, Cording, Kentucky, a bit earlier in the evening. That thunderstorm is going to move toward our western counties over the next hour or so with a lot of lightning, gusty winds, and maybe a tornado threat. And you can see at the bottom left side of your screen, we have Stormchase 11 with Reed Yadon out tracking those thunderstorms. I don't have my IFB, Ben. Where's he located?
He's E-Town.
He's in E-Town right now, and he's going to be heading towards some of these thunderstorms that are moving through.
He's right in the path of this one, just north of the Western Kentucky Parkway, which we've got this little notch there that we're going to watch pretty closely. Could be starting to see some hail with this too, Jared. Just a little bit right now, but this one's been strengthening. Yeah,
definitely. And it's in an environment where the temperatures are a little bit warmer, and there has not been a thunderstorm in that area, so it has a decent environment to work with to strengthen over the next few minutes. So let's reset, look at the entire viewing area, show you what we have right now. And again, we have multiple segments of thunderstorms passing through Kentuckiana, both north of the metro and also off toward the south. And if you're in Louisville, you're not in that severe thunderstorm watch. Floyd County, Harrison County, you're not in that watch, but you're actually under a severe thunderstorm warning. So ignore the watch and just keep in mind that you have severe weather coming toward your area at this time, even though a watch has not been issued. That's what happens sometimes in these situations. But once again, closest to the metro, 2 thunderstorms we're watching, both toward the north and west of the city and also farther south. This is the thunderstorm that could be producing hail to the size of $half over parts of Harrison and Floyd counties, and that could be moving toward parts of the metro over the next half hour or so, especially, let's say, from Old Louisville, Shively, right along the southern side of the Waterston and points north, right through downtown New Albany and Clarksville, Hamburg, those areas across Clark and Floyd counties. If you're along Charlestown Road, Grant Line Road, also farther west up the hill on I-64 and into parts of Floyd County, Indiana, there could be some pretty sizable hail heading for your part of Kentuckiana. We're tracking that storm for you. Tell you what, Ben, if you could update that track a little bit, because the radar just updated and it's moving pretty quickly now. You can see those updates coming in at around 30 to 40 miles an hour on the forward speed of these storms. So New Albany, downtown, Jeff, St. Matthews, Prospect over the next half hour. Be on the lookout for some gusty winds. The main threat, though, being hail that could be over severe size, which could be quarters or locally $half with these thunderstorms. Big storms off toward the south, exiting parts of Bullitt County, but pretty much on top of Barstown over the next 5 minutes. Cox's Creek up US 150 between Mount Washington and Barstown. Hail to the size of quarters possible in that thunderstorm. Then finally back to where we started a few minutes ago with this tornado warning that continues across rural northeastern sections there of Washington County. And you can see that thunderstorm is about to exit Washington County over the next few minutes. But if you're north and east of Springfield, just to the south of Willisburg, those storms heading in your direction. Guys?
It looks like that tornado warning will be allowed to expire now here in just about 30 seconds. There in Washington County, it's been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning there in eastern Washington County. So it looks like the tornado threat ending for you guys there in just south of Willisburg. That's where we were tracking that tornado warning. You see that ends here in just a few seconds. So severe thunderstorm warning replaces that for eastern Washington County. This is our strongest storm, it looks like now. That's heading towards Bardstown, Cox's Creek, and that is a hail producer, and it's been a long track storm too. We've got pictures of that with that hail through Brandenburg, moved through central Bullitt County, through the Shepherdsville area. We're going to stay on even though that tornado warning has expired, because these storms are fast and furious right now, and they are quickly firing up rapidly. You can see our Stormchase 11 camera is out there in E-Town waiting for this storm right here. Thankfully not seeing much rotation out of this storm right now. This is just to the west of Elizabethtown. We're putting the velocity, and we're just seeing some weak rotation, if anything, right now near the Cecilia area, just down the Western Kentucky Parkway west of E-Town. So I'll put the reflectivity back on. You're going to get some very heavy rainfall, possibly some small hail near the Rineyville area in E-Town. You can see that is tracking to the east at around 30 miles per hour. in the central Hardin County. And then we've got this severe thunderstorm warning that continues for the Hardinsburg area. And that is just north of Hardinsburg, heading towards the Irvington spots in eastern Breckinridge County. Got a little hail core with that too. And there you can see some of that hail just north of Hardinsburg. So that's mostly a hail maker. Yeah, Jared?
And at this point, if you're across parts of northern Breckinridge County into Irvington, that's the area that really needs to be on the lookout for some hail with that particular storm. And you can see behind my shoulder there the hail core. Let's go back to that, Ben, if we can for a second. The hail core over parts of Bullitt County on the hail tracker was fairly intense as well. We've been talking about that storm, and you can see right there a lot of hot pinks and reds on the reflectivity. And then as we turn on the hail slice, yeah, that could be over 1.5 inch size in diameter. That's getting up into that golf ball range. So this is damaging hail for this part of the country, of course. And keep in mind, temperatures as you walk outside are not all that warm, in the 50s and lower 60s. But in this situation, it does not take warm temperatures at the ground to get hail to develop. So just keep that in mind. And even though it seems cool and stable outside in your location, it may not be, as the air aloft is more conducive to producing hail than it would otherwise be in most situations. And again, we have these thunderstorms lining up. The tornado warning is going to expire. Good news, no reports of any damage or, of course, any touchdowns with that. We're going to continue to keep on our sources and make sure that that stays the case. But if you're in Barstown, Bloomfield, Mooresville, and Brush Grove over the next half hour, here you go. That next batch of thunderstorms heading your way with the potential, anyway, of hail that could be over quarter size to locally golf ball size in some locations. Closer to the metro, not a whole lot going on in Jefferson County right now, but we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect just across the river into parts of Indiana, Clark and Floyd counties. And Ben, it looks like that thunderstorm could mean business over the next few minutes, and we'll have to watch out right along 64 and points north.
And they are still racing at Churchill Downs, and you can see that storm is tracking just to the northwest of Churchill Downs. So we can zoom in here to street level, and right there you have Churchill Downs. Of course, Central Avenue right there, Longfield Avenue, and then we back up. And this storm right here, they're probably hearing some lightning and thunder. You can see we've got a few lightning strikes there over the last 15 minutes. Those are cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So Lanesville and Georgetown, that's where we have some of that heavy rainfall and some hail potential as well. And we're not getting huge hail, but maybe up to quarter-size hail at this time. And that's moving into central Floyd County, tracking to the east and to the northeast. So New Albany, you've got some time to get your car in the garage. And we'll put a track on this one as well as it continues to move to the east at around 30 to 35 miles per hour. We got that update with the radar right there. So basically moving into downtown here in about 10 to 15 minutes, Oak Park at 18, Prospect at 27. If it does hold together into the Anchorage area in about 36 minutes, and also heading into Sellersburg and Jeffersonville, and all those areas points to the east. So we do have several severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing as we back up. These storms do mean business. There can be a little spin-up tornado that we'll have to watch out for. Our meteorologist Bryan Shaw is looking at this as well. And Bryan, we actually had a tornado on the ground south of Evansville with that big cluster moving to the Litchfield area.
Yeah, Ben, and that's this storm right here, and it is heading towards Grayson County, and you can see the long line of severe thunderstorm warnings heading to the south and east. So this storm is capable of producing tornadoes, but all of these storms have been on the strong side. This has just lit up over the course of the past couple of hours, and as expected, the strongest threat for severe weather has been in central Kentucky. We have had a few storms fire north of the river, so that's why we mentioned, while you're not under the watch, there still is the potential for severe weather in that area. But we're watching this storm right now for around just south of Hardinsburg towards Litchfield. As you watch the progression of it, just notice the counterclockwise spin. A very strong storm making its way to the south and east. And then we have the smaller storms popping up throughout the area. One just south of Irvington, that is severe thunderstorm warned. We do have this storm in E-Town that is not severe thunderstorm warned, but look at all the lightning around Taylorsville into Bardstown. And then we have this storm just to the northwest of Louisville metro area about to make its way into Clark County. So that is a strong storm as well. The good news is we do not have any tornado warnings at this point in time. So we are going to keep you posted on our website, WHAS11.com. We're on social media. We're on our Facebook page, Twitter. So stay with us. And if there is another tornado warning, we will be back on air keeping you safe.
And we can see where this severe weather threat is the greatest. These storms are tracking from the west to the east at around 20 to 30 miles per hour. And that is right where we're talking about East Bardstown, that chance of a tornado. We do not have a report of a tornado on the ground. This is radar indicated at this time. There's Highway 62, 162, 245. Tracking severe weather right now. We're back on TV right now because we do have a new tornado warning near Bardstown, and that is until 7:45. This is a hail core right here. Can you hit the hail button, Brian, and we'll see that we've had a history of golf ball size hail. When we get that hail that large, look at Urban Springs area over Bardstown Road, we're now up to 2 inches. A lot of times we'll have that, or maybe 3/4 of that size. We could be seeing hail up to 1.5 inches in size, so golf ball size hail. And the hail core is just north of where the rotation is right there. And that rotation is hugging the Bluegrass Parkway and 62. And this is tracking to the east again at around 20 to 30 miles per hour. So this is eastern Nelson County. You're under the gun right now. We want you to be in your place of shelter, away from the doors and the windows, lowest level of your home. And we're going to stay with you until this tornado threat is over. We're likely going to be breaking in and out of programming because we are getting some tornado warnings from time to time as expected here. Bullitt County South under a severe thunderstorm warning until 11 p.m. So this is our busiest weather right here. You can see we're going back in time. Now we're going forward. And there is right there the Bluegrass Parkway just east of Bardstown, downtown Bardstown is where we have that rotation at this time. So this is heading into, once again, the Washington County area, affecting possibly Willisburg in the next 15 minutes to a half hour. These aren't storms that are racing. Sometimes we see them 60, 70 miles per hour. They're not going quite as fast because the wind energy isn't quite as fast in the upper levels. They're going around 30 miles per hour. So Bryan has zoomed back in. That's 162. Bloomfield, thankfully for you guys, that rotation is south of you. So you're in the clear as far as the tornado threat, but you're not in the clear when it comes to hail. That hail core could kind of skip near you guys. Heavy rainfall just south of Taylorsville, maybe some hail mixed in as well, just north of Bardstown. Another track on that as it moves to the east. This is heading towards the Crokes area in 5 minutes, Booker 8 minutes, Brush Grove 17, Willisburg 26, and Battle in about 38 minutes. And Jared, do we have any reports yet out of this storm here? I know there's been some gusty winds, possibly excess of 50, 60 miles per hour.
We've had reports of hail to the size of quarters with that thunderstorm, but no report of wind damage or tornadoes yet. I'll tell you what, back in the control room, if we can go to Max 1 for a second, and we're doing a 3D slice on that thunderstorm that's across parts of Nelson County. Ben, explain what's going on there. You can see the overhang.
Yeah, this is some shear here, so we're getting the hail core right there, and we're getting hail up to around 40,000 feet. The top of the storm up to 50,000 feet. So this is really, really intense. Think of the power and the wind speeds and the updraft to carry hail up to golf ball size that high up in the air. Hail does not magically float. So I tell the kids all the time in our weather talks, this wind has to be so strong, and then sometimes we get that updraft to kind of suck in some rotation, and that can cause a spin-up tornado. So this is what we're seeing here, the hail core, and then some of that shear taking the top of that storm off to the east. Here is ground level, and some of that hail at times can drop right down to the ground. When that happens, sometimes we can get some downburst winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, if not a tornado to do some damage. So we're likely seeing some really gusty conditions here just east of Bardstown, and heading down the Bluegrass Parkway into now it looks like the Washington County area. Mackville, you're going to be up next with some of that. And you can see we can move that slice kind of up and down, and there you can see there's the hail that's involved there too. Yeah,
there's your hail core, anything in purple. And as you said, Ben, it takes a lot of upward wind to hold those hailstones that could be as large as baseballs up above the ground. Thankfully, we're above freezing at the surface, and as that hail falls, it melts. You don't get that large of hail, but in this situation, golf ball is not out of the question.
Yep, so the threat is now east of Bardstown. Bardstown, you're fine. You're not in that tornado threat. Let's go back to Max 2. Bryan Shaw is on that, and here you can see where we are expecting some of that rotation. We're still getting some spikes of green next to the red. And let's go ahead and query some of the red areas there. That might just be some straight line, really gusty winds. You can see some bowing right there as well, and that could be producing winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. We're at 44 on that one individual point there. So these are the winds fairly near the surface. And every once in a while, a little spin up is possible. And we're going to have to watch out with this tornado warning still in effect until 7:45 p.m. So that's about 10 to 15 more minutes with this tornado warned storm. So if it's not on the ground at this time. We do not have a report of a tornado on the ground, but we do have radar indicated tornado, and also some damaging hail possible too. It is a ragged looking storm right here. There's the Bluegrass Parkway with that hail. And let's go back. This is the broad view, guys, just to set the stage with what's going on. Warm front is to our south now, but we're getting some elevated storms north of the warm front near the metro area, and that is producing some small hail. Downtown Louisville getting hit with some heavy rainfall, possibly some small hail. Churchill Downs is doing live racing, and that is right there. So this is just north of Churchill Downs. And this is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Metro Louisville until 8:05 p.m. And that is because of the hail threat. And we've got a look through our Metro camera now of that hail coming down. And it's coming down rather hard right now. And so this is not a tornado threat at this time. This is a hail threat for downtown Louisville. There you can see the heavy rainfall and some of that hail through our View from Review Restaurant Lounge, Morgan to Morgan HD camera network. So we got the track on that severe thunderstorm here moving through downtown Louisville, heading to St. Matthews, the Highlands. It's going to be crossing I-65 here shortly. And we can take that full here in our Metro camera. That's fine too, doing the storm tracker or Max HD radar right there. That track puts it towards Anchorage there, Prospect here over the next 15 minutes. And this is our view through our Morgan to Morgan HD camera network, and we are getting some of that very heavy rainfall and some of that hail as well. Let's go back to Max HD radar. We do have that tornado warning that it goes in effect for another 10 minutes there in Bardstown. New severe thunderstorm warning for downtown Louisville and to the east end here, and that continues until 8:05 p.m. This is a long-lived hail-making storm. Potential of some rotation here, and that's why we have that tornado warning that continues for a little bit longer. Seeing some weak rotation at this time, seeing some little intenser areas of some of that green next to the red. We call that a couplet. But also, guys, I think it just looks like some straight line winds there, as you see just a little bit of curvature there just south of that hail core. We've seen some winds there when we query this at 40, 50, possibly over 60 miles per hour. And so these are some intense winds here just to the east of Bardstown. Bardstown, you guys are okay. South of Bloomfield, you're okay. Let's go in and just a little bit closer. Let's please do a track as that moves into Washington County. Washington County, you guys had that recent tornado warning. Well, we've got a new tornado warning here for another 5 to 10 minutes. So we're putting a track on that to the east at around 30 miles per hour, heading to the Willisburg area in 13 minutes. Be in your place of shelter, again, away from the doors and windows, lowest level of your home. And you can always use blankets and pillows and protect yourself. The threat will not last long. Ashbrook in 18 minutes. Mackville is a little bit later than that. So now this is moving almost out of Nelson County, the hail core south of Bloomfield, and moving into Washington County and heading to these areas here near the Willisburg area. Once again, we've called out 555 earlier. Highway 55 as well. There's 458, and what a hail core that we've got there. That's possibly golf ball size hail, maybe even a little bit larger than that. Here's your Bluegrass Parkway. It's just to the south of that right now. Near the Booker area is where we have the hail and possible rotation. Again, we've got a tornado warning on this storm until 7:45. I do want to back out a little bit and just look at the overall view once again, and I want to see what's happening near E-Town and out to the west near Litchfield. We've had a cluster of storms that produced a tornado near Evansville, and this is what we're talking about here. There's a severe thunderstorm warning with that. So I just want to give you guys a heads up here in the Litchfield area near Rough River, Nolan River Lake areas that we've got some heavy rainfall, possibly some hail, and some damaging winds that could come out of that. That's going to travel towards the Caneyville area here shortly and down the Western Kentucky Parkway, down the WKY here over the next hour or so. You guys could Basically, with this severe thunderstorm, it's going to be moving into your area. Heading to Caneyville, just a couple minutes. Brooklyn 8, Litchfield 22 minutes, Sunfish 24, and Black Gold in about 38 minutes. So you can see the storms firing up around the area. E-Town, this is not severe. It's heavy rainfall. And we do have Reed Yadon in our Stormchase 11 along the Bluegrass Parkway. Looks like he's getting a lot closer to that tornado-warned storm there east of Bardstown. Reed, how's it looking your way?
Okay, we're on the Bluegrass Parkway right now, Ben, and indeed we're moving. I'd estimate we're, let me look at the GPS, we're about 10 miles away from that particular cell right now. We decided to move over in this area because it looks like these cells, as they get closer to this area, are really beginning to blossom even more. So far on our trip over here on the Bluegrass Parkway, rather ominous sky ahead, as you can see as we're coming around the curve here. You get a good view of it. We've encountered some moderate rain, and that's about it. No hail, no wind. And we have been monitoring a lot of the same sources as you, and we have no reports of any tornado touchdowns over there, but certainly a very active weather pattern right now. Again, the area we are working is just to the south of that frontal boundary that's laying here. We are sitting here with temperatures in the 70s right now. You go a little further north, it is a lot cooler. As we get closer over here to the Bardstown area and to Nelson County, you can see the rains are beginning to pick up, but this is certainly the weather we're in right now. I would not classify as severe, though, but we're moving into the warned areas, and we'll work this area for a while, Ben, and let us know if you need us to move otherwise. Otherwise, we're monitoring the feed along with you guys there. Try to keep everybody safe as we go through the evening here. Live in Stormchase 11, I'm Reed Yadon.
Reed, and Bryan Shaw is tracking some of the severe storms around the area now.
Yeah, we just have a couple of minutes left on this Washington County tornado warning. And if we go ahead and look at the velocities and the history of that, it does look like the spin is kind of falling out of that, and it's more straight line than a spinning rotation right now. It does look like we've got about 40 to 50 mile per hour winds just the north of Springfield, but it did look like that there was a more significant rotation there earlier on. It looks like now with the latest run that we might even be getting a little more rotation once again, as you see those greens and those reds close together there. So we do have the tornado warning going until 7:40, so just a couple of more minutes in those spots, but it is likely that they do extend that with a severe thunderstorm warning making its way to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So Springfield, once again, you are in the line of this storm in just about 5 minutes. In Willisburg, 10 minutes. In Mackville, 15 to 20 minutes. Deep Creek, about a half hour. And then Harrodsburg there in about 40 minutes. This isn't the only storm that we are tracking here. There are several throughout Kentuckiana, including Louisville Metro. It looks like St. Matthews, you are right on the edge of this storm, so that means Linden that you're going to be moving through here rather shortly. Half-inch size hail in downtown area, so this does look like it is producing some very strong downpours, some hail. There is the hail core of that, and it does look like half-inch size hail, so that's some pretty good hail from that storm making its way to the east. So if you are along the Waterson and into making its way to the east, you're in the path of this storm. Even up towards Prospect, you're just right on the edge of that. So let's go ahead and put a track on this and see as it makes its way to the east at about 30 miles per hour how quickly these spots are going to get hit. Anchorage in about 10 minutes, Eastwood 20 minutes, Simpsonville in about a half hour, and then Chestnut Grove in about 35 minutes for this storm that is severe thunderstorm warned as well. We do have several of these across Kentuckiana. Just several storms have popped up. The one we've been watching for quite some time is off to the south and west, heading towards Grayson County. Now, we do have these storms around E-Town, just some heavy rainmakers at this point in time, the possibility of some small hail in those. These are not severe thunderstorm warned, is that correct, Jared?
That's correct.
At this point in time?
That's correct.
But there's still some pretty strong storms. Now, let's go ahead and take a look off to the south and west. The storm that is there is a strong storm, and it does have the history of producing tornadoes. There was a tornado that was just south of Evansville that did take out a trailer park area. So we have severe thunderstorm warning on that going until 7:50 Eastern time, Central time, and just on the edge of Grayson County right now, heading towards Litchfield. So you do need to be in your safe spot in that area. And you notice just how quickly these fired up across Kentuckiana over the course of the last hour or so. And this one does have a lot of spin with it, a lot of rotation. So it does have the possibility to produce more damaging winds, large hail in those spots. So we're going to continue to watch those around Caneyville, around Litchfield. Potentially a very strong storm headed your direction. And then in Mumfordville, into Hart County and into Greene and Taylor County there towards Campbellsville, just a couple of spotty showers and some downpours. We're still watching this storm here just north of Springfield. That is the tornado warning storm. It does looks like it is going to expire here rather shortly. Have they extended it for a severe thunderstorm warning at all?
They have not at this point. And one thing I just wanted to note here, Brian, that storm is obviously producing hail, but it's going over an area that just had a hailstorm not a half an hour ago, so the ground is probably too stable for a tornado to develop in that area.
And exactly. I mean, we got those reports out of Springfield of some very large hail in those spots, so it does look like we are producing more large hail as well in those areas. So we've got the potential for more strong storms. Let's go ahead and go to Max 1 and look at kind of the vertical cut of this storm in that area. And you can see just how tall this storm is getting and why it is producing such large hail, up to almost 50,000 feet. And it does look like now this storm has been extended, the severe thunderstorm warning now. So the tornado warning has expired, but we now have a severe thunderstorm warning for Washington County going until what time?
That new warning will go until 8:15. It's going to include parts of Washington and Anderson counties.
And so we do have a hail threat there, a very strong storm, and you can see kind of how far east this extends as well as it does go higher up towards 50,000 feet. So a very strong storm there, continuing to make its way to the east. Let's go ahead and switch back to Max 2 and put a track on that so we do know what areas are in the path of this storm as it is making its way off to the east. And Ben, I'll go ahead and let you handle that as it is moving off to the east and out of Washington County.
Yeah. And since the tornado threat has ended, we can actually start to get ready to go back to our regular scheduled programming now. And we will continue on WHS11.com. We are going to be live streaming all evening long as this threat continues on your apps as well. Head to your app store and get your WHS11 app, and you can watch us live streaming. Sometimes the power goes out. You can still have your cell phone charged up and still be able to watch us streaming live. So we are going to head back now to our regularly scheduled programming. We've got a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Right now, we do not have any tornado warnings at this time. So right now we are tracking this severe thunderstorm in Washington County. It is heading towards the Willisburg area, but look at all the heavy weather that's out to the west right now, to the west of Litchfield and Hardinsburg. This is the current warnings that we have at this time, just to the west of Litchfield, to the west of Hardinsburg. And we have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues with the potential of some quarter-size hail here in the eastern sections of Jefferson County. And I believe we're actually still on WHS 11, but we should be heading back to regular programming here shortly, and we'll continue again to stream on WHS11.com. 8:05, this severe thunderstorm warning continues. And Jared, let's go in with our reflectivity. The hail core is now passed to the east of downtown.
Want to make a change in your career, and you need